Hey there, Tom Romeo from PCS, and I want to talk to you today about something that has nothing to do with our product, but it has everything to do with our product. So we have a product called Traverse. It's a web-based application. You can install it locally, or you can install it up in the cloud, and you access it via your browser. What I'm showing you here is my dynamic DNS account. And right here, you see I've got a domain name called pcstraverse.com. You can purchase one of these. I think it costs, I don't know, $5 or $10 a month. And now you've got this special domain, and you can use this when you install Traverse if you install it in the cloud. If you're not installing in the cloud, you're doing it local, you don't need this. But I want to show you how this name, pcstraverse.com, fits into the discussion about what we're talking about today. So what we're going to talk about today is how to generate a self-signed certificate and how to install that certificate and how to trust that certificate so that when you install Traverse, you can put a certificate on your server and use that same certificate on all of your workstations that have browsers, and then you have a trusted connection by using SSL, which gives you more security. It's a layer of security. It's not the end all be all, but it's a layer of security that you can add to your Traverse installation. So this is the beginning of that video, and we're going to go through a whole bunch of things. So having a server certificate when you're installing Traverse on premises, may or may not be that important because you're on your own private network. But a lot of companies do want to use certificates on their local installations. But here you see our Azure portal, and you see I've got a Azure VM. That's the DNS name for Azure, right? And it's a very standard, there's nothing fancy about the network. And this is just a simple VM that we use for demonstration purposes. This VM, however, when we load it up, I just started it. I'm going to connect to it shortly. It's registered with dynamic DNS as pcstraverse.com. So I'm not going to use this DNS name, though I could. I'm going to use the one that we purchased so that everything looks like it's company owned. And I'm going to take you through step by step how to create that certificate and then how to use it. Okay, so to illustrate how we're going to use this certificate, on that particular VM, I'm going to bring up the VM, you see how in Internet Information Services, I've got a site called Polyclinic, right? This was a demonstration I did for this company, and it's got fictional data on this server, but I used this to demonstrate how Traverse would work to them. So I'm going to paste in the Polyclinic page, and there it is. Now you see it says not secure. And what we're going to do during this session is create a certificate and then activate that certificate and then trust that certificate. So right now, this site says not secure. And when we're done with this video, you're going to see the little lock on here. So what we're doing now is we're going to the Microsoft website to see how do we create a self-signed certificate using PowerShell. Now notice that this works with Windows 10, Windows Server 2016. So it won't work on my Windows 2012 server, but I happen to have a Windows 2019 server spun up, and that's where we're going to actually create this certificate. So to create the certificate, I'm first going to open up PowerShell. I'm going to run it as the administrator. And then I'm going to launch MMC by just typing the Windows command, type mmc dot, run that command, and that lets me add a snap-in, and that snap-in is for these certificates. We're going to use the computer account, though for this purpose it probably doesn't matter. And now I'm going to show you inside of the personal folder. You see how I've already got one that I created, but that's not the one we're going to use today. We're going to create a brand new one. Now on my other monitor, I've got some pre-written scripts that I'm running. And you notice here now, after running that script, I created a brand new certificate called star.pcstraverse.com. You also notice that it's not trusted yet. I'm not going to trust it here. I need that thumbprint because the thumbprint is how we export the certificate and how we export it to a CER, certificate file, and to a PFX file. So right now, I'm actually pasting that thumbprint into my scripts. And as soon as I'm done pasting it into the script, I'm actually going to run two more scripts. One is going to export the file to a CER file, there, and the second script is going to export to a PFX file. So you see there's my first file. And there's the second script, and there's my PFX file. Now that PFX file is something you never want to share with anybody because it's your certificate. And if you share that with somebody, then they have access to your certificate, and they can actually make believe that they're you. So that's a private thing that you want to keep for yourself. Okay, so now I've copied those two new certificates to my other server, my Windows 2012 server, and I launched MMC, and I'm about to import that certificate to my Traverse server. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is import the certificate itself, the CER file. Okay, and now I'm going to import the PFX file, and this one requires a password, and I've already saved that password off into my other notepad that's on the other screen. And there's the password prompt. Okay, great. Now it's imported, and now I'm going to paste it into the Trusted Certificate Authorities node and into the Intermediate Certification Authorities node. So this way, that certificate is trusted on this server. Now, it needs to be trusted on this server because we're going to route all of our traffic from HTTP to HTTPS in Internet Explorer. So you'll see that in a second. I'm going to launch IIS as soon as I'm done doing this. I've already got it open, so it's easy. And you see there I'm at the Polyclinic. But first I need to add SSL to my binding. So on the default website, I'm going to add, right, those are the current bindings. I'm going to add HTTPS, and I'm going to pick my new certificate called Traverse. Now on Polyclinic, I'm going to say force everybody to use SSL. Click Apply. And now we're going back to my computer. So this is the server, but now I'm going to open up my browser, right? And I'm going to go to the Polyclinic site like I did earlier, right? That's my Traverse demo server with the Polyclinic demo. And you see it's forbidden. If I switch it to HTTPS, it's going to launch, but there's going to be another little problem that we have to fix on the server. But you notice here it's not trusted, right? That certificate is not trusted, so it's taking me through this. And the reason why it's not trusted is because it's not produced by a certificate authority. It's a self-signed certificate, and we are not widely known. But since I know I created it, I'm going to trust it because I trust myself. There's one last thing I have to do to the Polyclinic site that I neglected to do earlier, and that is in application settings. We force the URL, and you see it's HTTP. We have to change that to an S. And there are a few other server-side settings that you would do for Traverse. For our demonstration here, this is all we have to do. Okay. So now you see we're at the Polyclinic site, but it says not secure. We have to trust that certificate. Now, Chrome is different than Internet Explorer, and is different than Safari, and is different than Mozilla, and is different than Edge. Chrome manages their own certificates, whereas in MMC, that Snap-in, you can manage your certificates on your computer, and that works for Edge or Internet Explorer. So first, we're going to open up MMC and import that certificate so we can open up this website using Internet Explorer. So I'm going to open up that same package that I did on the server, MMC, and we're going to go through the same process of trusting that certificate. But you'll notice I'm not going to use the certificate with the password. I'm going to use the CER file. Actually, I'm not even going to do that. You noticed how in Chrome I exported that certificate? So I just said, go get it for me. So here we go. Trusted root, and now I'm going to import. Browse. And now we have to pick the other. Right now it's set for .cer. We have to pick .7b. Scroll to the bottom of that page, and there it is. Perfect. So now he's a trusted root certificate authority. And if I take that URL and open up Internet Explorer, you see how it doesn't warn me about that it's not secure. So we're golden here with Internet Explorer, but we're still not yet out of the woods with Chrome. And the reason for that is because Chrome manages their own certificates. So what we need to do is go to the Chrome settings, right? You see it? There's the certificate. Let's go to settings. And now, every time I go here, it takes me a little bit of time to find it. Yep. And now I'm going to import that certificate. But I imported it, if you notice, I imported it into my personal store. And where I really need it is in the Trusted Roots Certificate Authority store. So I'm going to import it again. Perfect. And now you'll see it still doesn't work. And that's okay. You have to close out of Chrome before this will take effect. You close Chrome completely, and then when we reopen Chrome, and you'll do the similar thing for Mozilla Firefox, you'll do a similar thing for Safari, But now you see I've got my little lock, and that little lock is the thing that I promised you at the beginning of this video. So that's it. I guess this was a bit long. It was 16 minutes. I apologize for that, but we did cover a lot of material, and I hope that this was helpful for you, not just for Traverse, but anytime you need a certificate for testing or anything else. Again, thanks for watching. Tom Romeo from PCS, and you can download all of our software from our website. Thanks again.